7, aka Diz, and this is the Force always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. Let's get on with the Star Wars news. Well, there's actually no news I can report on besides The Mandalorian is coming up in October. That's season 2 on Disney Plus. That's it at the moment. We've got no other actual real news to report on this week. But The Mandalorian is the next thing that is on the Star Wars calendar. It's in October. Get excited about that. That's all I can tell you. And look, no other news to report with Star Wars Celebration. That's sort of in hiatus at the moment. And the only other news really coming from my neck of the woods, which is Melbourne, Australia, which is Victoria, the state. We are in extreme lockdown at the moment. We've gone very high in cases. It's not really Star Wars news, but we are in a bit of sort of trouble here. But we are striving on. But we are in extreme lockdown. So people are working from home or staying away outside at the moment. That's pretty much the news and Star Wars news, you could say. Anyway, let's get into views. Views is my story ideas on the Star Wars saga. It could be a video clip, it could be a trailer, a poster, usually the movies. And my views this time around, will be more about the sequel trilogy that was what we just witnessed, 7, 8, and 9. The best story idea that was missed. I think 7 was, a real entertaining, relaunch of Star Wars, and that was great. And I love the character Rey. It was great. But I think, the best story idea that was missed with this, but at the same time, the whole story of Rey being the front and center was great. Don't get me wrong with that. But I think and this is popular amongst a lot of people out there. But it's something that I actually thought of myself, but I discovered that a lot of people out there were into this as well. If Luke Skywalker was the one that actually picked up that lightsaber in the snow at the end of the film, Force Awakens, Episode 7, and just rock some heroic action, that's the biggest story idea that was missed from The Force Awakens, Episode 7. In fact, it would have dominoed some great stories from that point. Not just about Luke Skywalker, it would be, the journey of the two, master and apprentice at that point. But it was one of those things that, we were all, as Star Wars fans, would have loved to see Luke Skywalker become the hero once again. But the only thing I'll say with that is that he would have taken the limelight away from Rey, but it could have been done in a way where Rey still had the front and center. That's my story idea. It's sort of a story idea that a lot of people out there have, but it's the one that was missed the most. Anyway, that's my views for this time around. Let's get into reviews. Reviews this time around is actually the sequel trilogy overall. What's my review? Now, this is, after Rise of Skywalker, more than 6 months ago now, that's been released. But, we've had a lot of time to settle. Hear other people's opinions. Know what you really feel about the whole sequel trilogy. I personally, straight off the bat, give the sequel trilogy a 6.9 out of 10. I'm not one of these guys that doesn't like The Last Jedi or doesn't like The Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was a great ending. Not the greatest ever, but it was still great. I thought The Last Jedi missed a lot of points in sort of having it be, look forward to in The Rise of Skywalker to see what would happen to certain characters. Yet we were left a little bit empty, but still it was a good original film. That's what I liked about that. It was original. I think the worst part of that film wasn't actually the Canto Bight era. I thought the whole Snoke battle, lightsaber battle, it just looked like a soundstage. That's, to me, the thing that I cringed to the most in that film. But Kendo Bite wasn't the best, but it was still okay. It was a little bit Men in Black, but episode 7 sort of was a rehash. But the one thing that people I understand, they don't get, Star Wars is a cycle of stories. Deliberately that's a part of life and a part of the Star Wars life. So to me, Phantom Menace is like A New Hope, and A New Hope is like Force Awakens. Force Awakens may have done it a little bit closer, but it's still the cycle of Star Wars and pretty much what life is. That's what I sort of got from it. Anyway, not to say that that's the ultimate way you should think. It's just how I think. But 6.9 for the Disney trilogy, or the sequel trilogy, whatever you want to call it. That's, to me, what I think. I'm really still, to this day, really amazed, especially with The Rise of Skywalker, how much dislike Star Wars got. I think people, if there's any fault that I'm picking up, is that people really had their own idea where the Star Wars story should go, and are just not letting go to their idea. That's the only thing I can think of. Anyway, so that's my review for this time around. Let's get into interviews. That's 2Q, 2 questions where I ask myself, you guys out there, first question, what is to look forward to with Star Wars? Well, as I said before, early in the show, in the news section, The Mandalorian is in October. That's something to look forward to. It's going to be interesting where they take it. Can they sort of keep up with the momentum, with the fans loving it? For me, I thought it was good, not great. It's a little bit sort of, it just hovered at a 7.5 or 7 sort of feel. Like I didn't think it was outstanding, but it was still very good, especially for TV, or even your phone, or even your iPad, whatever you want to sort of watch Disney Plus on, as that's the service where Mandalorian is coming from. So that's something to look forward to. The Mandalorian really is the next best sort of thing for Star Wars at the moment. But my second question, what is the thing most least to look forward to for Star Wars? The most least thing you don't want to happen. Personally, I really want the Star Wars fan base to really get out of the habit of, overwhelming dislikes, and really pushing that to be the front and center of a conversation. Really, just, in my opinion, my suggestion, that's all it is just to take it on for what it is. Every single story of the episodic films, even the other, in-betweens, there's always something that you can't scientifically work out. The fact that, Luke Skywalker is on a planet other than Earth that has oxygen, like on Tatooine, is far-fetched in itself, being a space-type film. Even though it's not a sci-fi, but it's a space film. That, to me, is illogical. How can that be without wearing a mask or some sort of breathing apparatus? But, every Star Wars film has things that scientifically you can't work out. It has a Star Wars science to it. That's how I take it. That's what I look at it as. When you look at the Rise of Skywalker, gets a lot of backlash for the part of the Emperor. How could he have survived? There's ways to create that story, even though I think it's not the greatest thing to do for The Rise of Skywalker. Again, I think Darth Plagueis should have been a front and center of being the evil villain in the whole saga. That's another story. But I think, so the Emperor was, there was a way to have him survive. This guy was set up. In the story of Star Wars, he was set up. He was like ahead of the game. So there, in itself, being ahead of the game makes sense to him coming back. Even though it may have been written, afterwards, not having a real plan, the whole Disney didn't have a plan, that's what we're assuming. But the original Star Wars, 4, 5, and 6 didn't have a plan. So I think there's not much difference to how Disney did it and how Lucas did it. Lucas may have had a sort of a rough idea where it's going to go, but it was a rough idea. And I just think the whole fan base just needs to get off the not the whole fan base. I mean, some of it, not part of it, not some, not most, just part. Is just to enjoy for what it is. If that's the story, that's the story. That's how I take it. I personally think I have a better idea with the whole sequel thing, but I'm not going to, go crazy about it. I'm just going to accept it for what it is and go along for the ride. That's my opinion. That's my suggestion. I'm just a Star Wars fan, just like you guys out there. That's it. Anyway, so that's The Force Always this time around. Subscribe to the channel, The Force Always. It's on weekly. I talk about Star Wars news when there's Star Wars news, but believe me, I'll look for anything I can. I'm just that hardcore Star Wars fan. I've got views, which is all about the story ideas, my own story ideas. Reviews, which is something, it could be a product, it could be, the latest episode of something, or in film or TV. And interviews, usually it's myself, interviewing myself, but I can interview other people. But if you have any questions, just, message me on YouTube if you like. Instagram, all my details are down there, along with my Twitter. But until next time, my friend, that's next week, because it's a weekly show, this Star Wars show. And I ain't going anywhere. But anyway, until next week, keep rocking.